Okay, I just wasted the last 5 minutes making this beautiful cover here for today's lesson that's going to be on your screen for about, another 15 seconds. So today's lesson is addition equations, and it is chapter 2, lesson 5. So, what we talked about already in equations, and this is the most important thing that I'm going to keep coming back to, is you can think about it as if it is a scale. And right in the middle of that scale is this equal sign. So, both sides of the scale always have to be equal. And what we're going to figure out how to do is look at equations like this one, 6 plus x equals 14, and be able to solve them, knowing that both sides always have to be equal, because if both sides are not equal, what happens is that one side gets weighed down. And if one side gets weighed down, that's not good. So basically, I'm rambling now, but basically the most important thing about equations is that we know that both sides always have to be equal. And if you forget that and both sides are not equal, then what happens next is an explosive failure of algebra. But we're going to keep that from happening. So what we're going to do today is we're going to not fail algebra. We are going to learn how to correctly do addition equations. So we're going to look at all of our different equations as if they're on a scale today. And that's going to make sure that we keep them balanced. So let's take a look at the one that I had up at the beginning. I believe it was 6 plus x equals 14. Now we know in order for this to be a correct equation, 6 plus x has to be 14. Well, what we have to figure out is, what is x? So, we can use some mental math today to figure out that we know that 6 plus something is equal to 14. So we should already know that 6 plus 8 is 14, because it's a math fact. So we should know that 6 plus 8 is equal to 14, in which case our x is 8. Now, if we do 6 plus 8, it's 14. And if we put 14 on each side, then we know the equation is balanced. But we're not always going to be doing one so easy. I'm going to take one from our homework right now that we're going to take a look at. And that one's going to be 125 equals n plus 85. And both sides of this equation are balanced. Now, the important thing when we're doing equations, when we want to solve for the letter always. And so in order to solve for the letter, we need to have it saying n is equal to something, or something is equal to n. But this 85 over here is preventing us from letting that happen. There's this 85. So what are we doing to n over here? We're adding 85 to it. So we want that n alone, so we want to take that 85 away. And so in order to cancel out that 85, we would subtract 85 from this side. And that gets our n alone, because plus 85 and then minus 85 would equal 0, so that would cross it out. But if we do that, the problem is that our equation now becomes uneven, and we don't want an explosive fail of algebra. So if we took minus 85 on one side, we have to take minus 85 on another. And so what we're going to do on this side is we're going to do 125, and we're also going to subtract it from 85. And then what we're going to have is 125 minus 85 on one side, and that is equal to n. Now our n's all alone. And all we have over here is a problem that we can solve. So we do 125 minus 85, and what that's going to give us is 40. So what we end up with is n equals 40. Now, the beautiful thing, I think I said this about 9 times this morning, the beautiful thing about algebra is that in algebra, we can go back and check our answers and make sure that they're correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to know that n is equal to 40. We're going to put that down here. And we're going to erase everything and get back to our original problem. So our original problem was n plus 85 is equal to 145. And all we do is we take the answer that we think we have, that n equals 40, and we're going to plug in n is equal to 40. So we're going to plug in 40 for n. Now, 40 plus 85, does that equal 125? It does. So that confirms our equation. We can always check on our answer in algebra. And so if you miss a problem in algebra, that's because you haven't double checked it. You should never miss a problem in algebra because you should always double check it. And when we get into division, that's especially important because a lot of times we become fooled by answers that we think are correct, but if we really took our time and went back and checked it, then we would not miss the problem. So the important things about doing an algebra problem are, the first thing is to get the letter alone. The second thing is we need to make sure if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. And number 3 is solve. And of course, number 4 is check your solution by plugging in the number. So go ahead and write that down, and we're going to come back to that here in a moment in practice on a problem. So I'm going to put that up in the corner and have that to look at. You can have that in your notebook and then go through with me by doing those 4 steps. So let's take a look at an addition problem. And by the way, these exact rules work for every problem in algebra. It works for addition, it works for subtraction, it works for multiplication, it works for division. So you're going to see this again tomorrow and the day after when we learn subtraction problems, multiplication problems, and division problems. So we're going to have this up here to look at while we solve our next problem. And our next problem is x plus 96 equals 154. So the first thing we need to do is number 1, get that letter alone. So in order to get that letter alone, we're adding 96 to it over here. So we need to get it alone, so we would subtract. We do the opposite. And when we subtract 96, when we add 96 and then subtract 96, that cancels out and it's 0. So what we can do is erase it. Or we can just rewrite this below as just x. But I'm going to erase it because I don't have a lot of space on this iPad. But then we have to look at number 2. If I did it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So what I had just done a minute ago was subtract 96. So if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So I have to do it to the other. So 100, and then all I do from there is solve. So 154 minus 96, borrow, and our answer would be 58. Now the last thing we have to do, of course, is double check. So our answer is x is equal to 58. But we're going to double check that. So when we double check that, all we do is we have x is equal to 58, so we just plug in 58 for x, erase that, put 58, and we're going to just add 58 plus 96. So we'll do it like this. And does 154 equal 154? Yes, so I've double checked my answer, and my answer is correct. So the correct answer is x equals 58. Okay, now I'm going to leave this up here so you can look at it, or you can look in your notebook, and I'm going to give you one problem that we are going to go over together on this show me, and then I'm going to give you one to practice and give me the answer for tomorrow. So, here is your problem. This is directly from your book. It is 25 plus m is equal to 47. So what I want you to do is get this m alone and solve, and follow these directions up here, and you should be able to solve. So pause and then solve. Okay, so on this one, you're adding 25 to m. We need to get that letter alone. So if we're adding 25 to it, we're going to subtract 25 to get it alone. That's the first part. But if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. So if we subtracted 25 over here, we have to subtract 25 over there. Then all we do is solve. 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So all we have left is m is equal to 22. So now I've solved, and then I'm just going to double check. I'm going to write down the original one. It's 25 plus m is equal to 47. If I plug in 22, we have 25 plus 22. Does that equal 47? Yes, it does. So the correct answer is m is equal to 22. I'm going to give you one more, and you're going to solve it for tomorrow. So the problem you need to solve for tomorrow, and I'm going to show you the, well, let's see. I'm just going to give you the problem. We'll go over some story problems tomorrow when we're in class. So the problem that I want you to solve is r plus 93 equals 200. So I want you to solve, use your tools up here, and I want you to do r plus 93 equals 200. Come with the answer tomorrow. Have a splendid evening. Eat well. See ya.